Have you ever woken up on your birthday, phone in hand, hoping for a single message from the people who should love you most, only to find something that cuts deeper than silence? My name is Allison, and on the morning I turned 28, I lay in my small apartment, the quiet hum of the city outside my window, expecting at least a text from my family. Instead, I opened Facebook to a gut punch. 27 photos of my entire family at a surprise party for my sister Belle, thrown the night before my birthday. The caption read, "Celebrating the only one who deserves it." My fingers trembled as I typed, "Nice cake," trying to mask the sting. My mom's reply was instant, "At least someone is worth baking for." I forced a smile, typed, "Enjoy it while you can," and set my phone down, the words echoing like a promise I didn't yet understand. If you've ever felt invisible in your own family, hit that like and subscribe button. Trust me, what happened next will show you how to reclaim your power. That moment wasn't just a forgotten birthday. It was the latest chapter in a lifelong story of being the shadow to Belle's spotlight. Growing up, our family had clear roles, etched like grooves in a worn record. I was the responsible one, reliable, steady, always picking up the pieces. Belle, 3 years younger, was the golden child, showered with praise for the smallest gestures while my efforts gathered dust. I still see my 10th birthday, when I asked for a simple backyard party with pizza and friends. The day before, Belle decided she wanted dance classes, and my birthday money vanished into her registration fee. "We'll celebrate next weekend," Mom promised, but that weekend never came. When our parents divorced, I was 12, Belle 9, and the storm of their separation left me to manage the wreckage. I cooked dinners, helped with homework, placed bills where Mom couldn't miss them. Belle, though, acted out, skipping school, slamming doors, blaming me for the divorce. Instead of discipline, Mom bought her gifts, soothing her tantrums. "Your sister's sensitive," she'd say when I asked why Belle got a pass. "You're strong, Allison. You can handle it." By 16, I balanced a 4.0 GPA, led the debate team, and worked weekends at a grocery store to save for college. My National Honor Society induction clashed with Belle's junior high soccer game, where she scored 1 goal in a loss. My family skipped my ceremony, but brought home ice cream to celebrate Belle. "We're proud of you too," Dad said over the phone, his voice distant. "But Belle needs encouragement more." College became my escape, funded by a partial scholarship and 2 jobs. Mom's weekly calls always circled back to Belle's latest drama, never my life. When Belle graduated high school with a C average, they threw her a lavish party, costing more than my first semester's textbooks. 6 months into community college, she dropped out, claiming stress. Meanwhile, I graduated and landed a marketing job, renting a modest apartment and chipping away at student loans. Then came Belle's call, asking for first and last month's rent for her apartment, just until I find my passion. Against my instincts, I sent the money. Mom thanked me, saying it was nice to see me finally helping Belle. What they didn't know was that I kept helping. 40% of her rent, month after month, for 2 years, after her landlord warned of eviction. I set up automatic payments, never telling my family, while Belle complained about scraping by at gatherings, and I stayed silent. Last Christmas, she announced a promotion at her boutique job, earning toasts from everyone. Later, I overheard her admit to Mom she'd been fired weeks earlier but didn't want to ruin the holiday. I said nothing, even when I sent extra money after her text about a potential heat shutoff. My 27th birthday brought a single text from Mom, "Happy birthday. Taking Belle shopping for job interviews. Call you later." She didn't call. I spent the evening alone with takeout, convincing myself it didn't matter. A month ago, Dad asked for $500 for a special family surprise, which I assumed was for Mom's upcoming 60th. I sent it, marking my calendar to be free. Now, staring at those Facebook photos, I realized the surprise was Belle's party, not Mom's. The 3-tier cake, diamond earrings, a laptop I'd wanted, my money had funded it all. As I dressed for work, the morning light gray through my window, I checked my phone. Messages from my boss, my college roommate, my dentist's reminder system. Nothing from family. I told myself it was early, but deep down, I knew better. At the office, I threw myself into work, ignoring the ache. Birthdays shouldn't matter at 28, I thought, but the lie felt hollow. During lunch, I checked Facebook again, unable to resist. The photos burned. Mom beaming with Belle's cake, Dad's arm around her, Aunt Judith who never traveled, Grandma who could barely walk, all there for Belle. The banner read, "We're so proud of you." My comment, "Nice cake," drew my aunt's reply, "It was delicious. Belle deserves the best." My cousin Amber wrote, "We missed you, but it was a perfect night for perfect Belle." Then Mom's words, "At least someone is worth baking for." I read them again, each syllable a confirmation of my place in the family. Unseen, unworthy. Belle's reply was the final blow. "Sorry sis, guess Mom loves me more. Lol, maybe next year you'll have something worth celebrating." I set my phone down, my sandwich untouched, and excused myself to the bathroom, splashing cold water on my face. Something inside me was shifting. A spark of defiance I hadn't felt before. That spark grew as I returned to my desk, finishing my workday on autopilot. My boss stopped by with a cupcake and a team-signed card. A small gesture that warmed me more than any family celebration ever had. That evening, I picked up Thai food. Pad Thai from the corner place, steam rising in my quiet apartment, and scrolled through the photos again, unable to stop. The cake from the expensive bakery Mom always called too pricey, the champagne Dad reserved for real occasions, the laptop peeking from a gift bag, the exact model I'd researched for months but couldn't justify buying yet. It wasn't forgetfulness, it was choice. Deliberate exclusion. Tomorrow, there'd be belated texts, maybe a call with excuses, expecting me to brush it off as always. But as I sat there, alone on my 28th birthday, I knew I was done with crumbs. This wasn't new, just the sharpest edge of a blade I'd felt my whole life. Our family roles were set early, like concrete hardening around us. I was the fixer, the one who didn't need fixing. Belle was the star, fragile and adored. 3 years my junior, she collected compliments like trophies for breathing, while my wins were footnotes. Take my 10th birthday. I'd begged for a modest party, friends over for games and pizza in the yard. Nothing fancy. But Belle, at 7, announced she wanted dance lessons, and suddenly my gift envelope funded her spot. "We can do your party next weekend," Mom said, hugging Belle as she twirled in excitement. That weekend, it faded into excuses, forgotten like so many promises. I smiled through it even then, telling myself it didn't matter. The divorce amplified everything when I was 12. Dad packed up and moved across town, his visits starting weekly but dwindling to holidays, his calls full of apologies wrapped in distance. Mom sank into depression, a fog that left the house feeling empty even when full. I stepped up, meals from canned goods and recipes I looked up, homework reminders for Belle, bills stacked neatly on the counter with post-it notes. Pay by Friday, I'd write in my careful kid handwriting. Belle handled it differently, her pain exploding outward. Truancy slips, door slams that shook the walls, screams that the split was my fault because I was too perfect and made everyone miserable. Mom's response? Hours of coddling, new clothes or toys to make up for our broken home. When I pointed out the unfairness, Mom's eyes would soften with pity. For Belle. "She's sensitive, Allison. You understand that. You're so strong. You don't need as much." High school sharpened the divide. At 16, I juggled straight A's, debate captain duties, and shifts bagging groceries, my savings jar filling slowly for college dreams. The National Honor Society ceremony was a big deal, me in a cap and gown, speech prepared. But it landed on Belle's soccer game day. She scored 1 goal, they lost anyway. My family chose the field, coming home with ice cream cones and cheers for her effort. I called Dad that night, voice steady as I shared my news. "Proud of you, kiddo," he said, but added, "Belle really needed that win today. You get it." I did get it, or at least I pretended to, swallowing the lump in my throat. College was my lifeline, a partial scholarship and double jobs covering the rest. No loans from family, just my grit. Mom's calls were clockwork, but they'd veer to Belle's boy troubles or school skips, never lingering on my dorm life or exams. Belle's high school graduation, with her barely passing C's, earned a blowout party, balloons and catering that dwarfed my textbook costs. I was happy for her starting community college, thinking structure might help. But 6 months in, she quit, too stressful. By then I'd graduated, snagged an entry-level marketing gig, and moved into my apartment, budgeting every penny for loans. Belle's pleas started small. That first call for rent money, her voice sweet with, "Just this once." I wired it, and Mom's thank you call twisted the knife. "Good to see you stepping up for once." But it didn't stop. 2 years of secret transfers, 40% of her rent after the landlord's eviction threat call. Automatic payments I set up, silent at family dinners as she whined about bills. Christmas last year, her fake promotion announcement drew claps and toasts. I overheard the truth later, her firing weeks prior, but kept quiet, sending extra for her heat crisis. My last birthday, the 27th, was a text from Mom mid-shopping trip with Belle. No call followed. I treated myself to a movie, alone in the dark theater, popcorn butter on my fingers, telling myself adulthood meant not caring. Dad's request for $500 a month ago felt like inclusion. Family pulling together. I sent it, imagining Mom's 60th. Now those photos revealed the truth. My money on Belle's cake, her earrings, her party. The eve of my birthday, time-stamped 11:58 p.m. Work blurred by, my mind replaying scenes. The house in photos, our childhood home, where I'd painted the kitchen one summer, fixed the faucet during breaks because plumbers cost too much. Balloons in Belle's favorite pink, presents stacked, banner over the fireplace where my awards once hung before being decluttered. Not a job celebration, a job interview, fictional as I'd later learn. I'd helped plan Belle's 25th last year, chipping in for her Nashville trip. Now this. Back home, food cooling, I drafted comments, angry rants deleted, sad truths too raw. Nice cake was neutral, but Mom's reply shattered pretense. Aunt's Belle deserves the best, cousin's perfect night, Belle's mom loves me more, lol. Casual cruelty, dismissing my degree, job, independence. My phone rang. Amber, my cousin. Happy birthday, she said, surprising me. She remembered? Of course. About the party? Mom said Belle needed a boost for her interview. I asked about you. She said you were too busy. The lie hurt. I hadn't been invited anywhere in months. I sent money for this, I whispered. Amber gasped, that's messed up. Dad's text came. Happy birthday, kiddo. Taking Belle shopping. Dinner soon. No party mention, no visit acknowledgement. I cried then, sobs shaking me, for the girl whose party vanished, the teen alone at ceremonies, the woman giving endlessly. When tears dried, clarity came. I was done forgiving. Done being strong alone. That clarity lingered like the aftertaste of bitter coffee as I opened my laptop that night. The screen's glow casting shadows on my walls. I pulled up a spreadsheet I'd kept for years. Every transfer to Belle, every quiet bailout. The numbers stared back. $17,842 over 3 years. Money that could have cleared my loans sooner, or gone toward a condo deposit instead of this rented space with its creaky floors and thin walls. But I'd given it freely, silently, thinking it was what family did. No more. I dug deeper, finding emails from Belle's work I'd helped set up, warnings about tardiness, attitude issues, then the termination notice 3 months old. She'd been jobless, lying about promotions, while I footed bills. A utility notice in my inbox by mistake showed $600 overdue, despite my recent send for essentials. The pieces clicked. She'd misused it all, knowing I'd catch her fall. This pattern of silent support started small but grew roots in my adult life, twisting around my independence like vines. After college, with my degree fresh and job secured, I built a routine. Early mornings with coffee steaming in my mug, commutes where I'd plan my day, evenings unwinding with books or runs in the park. But family shadows loomed. Belle's first apartment plea came 6 months after I moved out. Just first and last, sis, till I get on my feet. Her voice over the phone was light, promising repayment. I transferred it from my savings, the app's confirmation chime feeling like a reluctant agreement. Mom called soon after, her tone approving for once. It's about time you helped your sister out. As if I hadn't been doing that all along, in ways unseen. The help escalated when her landlord called me directly, months later. Miss Turner, your sister's 3 months behind. She listed you as a reference. Panic in his voice matched the knot in my stomach. Rather than let eviction hit, I arranged payments, 40% of her rent, auto-deducted monthly. Belle never knew the full extent. I'd made it direct to avoid her dipping into it. At family dinners, rare as they were, I'd listen to her complain about barely making ends meet, her fork waving dramatically, while I nodded, biting back the truth. Why? Habit, maybe. Or the ingrained role. The strong one who fixes without fanfare. My milestones, meanwhile, passed like ghosts. Landing that promotion to junior marketer 2 years ago, I'd worked overtime, pitching ideas till my voice went hoarse. I shared the news at a family call. Mom pivoted to Belle's Big audition for a boutique job. No congrats dinner, no card. Belle got the gig part-time and they celebrated with a spa day. When my apartment lease renewed, I mentioned it casually. Dad suggested I help Belle with her decor ideas instead. Last year's work award, a plaque now on my shelf gathering dust, no family visit. But when Belle promoted herself falsely at Christmas, the table erupted in cheers, glasses clinking under holiday lights. I kept giving. 6 months of utilities when her roommate bailed, 3 car payments after a breakdown threat. Each time her texts, "Things are tight, promise to pay back." I saved them, evidence of patterns I ignored. The total climbed, my budget tightening like a belt. Yet at gatherings she'd shine, stories of her hectic job, family hanging on every word. I'd smile, contribute to pots for her gifts like that Nashville trip for her 25th. I coordinated relatives, collected funds, watched photos of her laughing in bars while I worked weekends. A month back, Dad's call felt different. Need help with a special surprise, family pulling together. His voice had that rare warmth, hinting at unity. I pictured Mom's 60th. Cake, laughs, maybe acknowledgement. $500 sent, calendar marked. Now, knowing it fueled Belle's party, the betrayal burned fresh. That night before my birthday, 11:58 p.m. timestamp, champagne toasts to her dream job interview. A lie, as her termination email proved. The next morning, day 1 post-email, I kept my phone off, focusing on a work presentation. Colleagues noted my energy. "You seem sharper today." I was unburdened, mind clear without Belle's orbit. Evening brought Thai leftovers, a movie, solid sleep. Day 2, more notifications filtered to a folder. I blocked numbers temporarily, breathing easier. Day 3, flowers from Amber, card saying, "Happy belated, you deserve celebration too." Her kindness cracked my armor a bit. By day 4, reality hit Belle, rent due soon without my transfer. Her text via a friend's phone, "Landlord called, fix this, whatever your issue is." No reply from me. Day 6, Mom's voicemail through my building line, scolding my childish behavior, Belle in tears. I saved it, unmoved. Day 8, Dad's email, "Let's talk rationally, cutting off Belle is extreme, she's fragile." My reply, "Not extreme, necessary, she's been jobless 3 months, misusing funds." Day 10, family barrage, Aunt Judith calling work, Uncle Pete's loyalty lecture, Grandma's disappointed voice. Belle's pleas turned desperate, eviction in 5 days, what monster are you? Then vicious, everyone sees your jealousy now. I held firm, recognizing manipulation. Old me would have caved, new me saw tactics to restore the old order. Day 11, Mom's threat email, 24 hours or consequences. It bounced off me. That day, Belle's boyfriend Dylan messaged, accusing sabotage out of envy. Blocked. I dined with colleagues, first time in ages without family pulls, and scheduled therapy, long overdue. Amber called amid the storm. "Saw your evidence email, had no idea you funded her. You're right to stop." Her words bolstered me. Not all family was toxic. Day 12, calls during my meeting, Belle shrieking on answer, "Eviction starting, fix it." Calmly I said, "Your choices, Belle. You've lied, misused money." Her retort, "You have no life anyway." I hung up, returned to work. Group chat exploded, Mom demanding answers, Dad saying too far, aunts and uncles condemning. Muted it. At 4:30, receptionist, "Your mom's here," upset. In the lobby, her flushed face, pointing, "How dare you humiliate us?" Outside, I kept professional. Inappropriate at work. She ranted about privacy, Belle's right time to confess lies. A colleague passed, I stayed composed. "Can't talk here, schedule if civil." She demanded I come apologize, reinstate payments. "No," I said, walking away as she grabbed my arm. "Walk away, don't come back." I removed her hand. Where was family loyalty on my birthday? Evening, doorbell, Belle, Mom, Dad. I let them in, no hospitality. Belle dramatic on couch, Mom tense, Dad awkward. "Nice place," he noted. Silence broken by Mom, "End this vendetta." I countered, "Not vendetta, stopping imbalance." Arguments flew, Belle's sobs, Dad's mediation. I revealed her firing, chronic issues. Mom defended, jealousy always. I listed my supports, rent, utilities, thousands while ignored. Dad admitted forgetting my birthday. Hectic. Mom, Belle needs more. Punishing because they love me more. Truth hung heavy. Mom demanded reinstatement for effort to acknowledge you. No. Then my reveal. Accepted Chicago promotion. Shock. Can't move, who helps family? Mom asked. I've been the resource, not daughter. Belle wailed, options sounded horrible. Adult life, I said. Mom stormed out, Belle pleading with nickname, ally. Promises again, prove with actions. Dad lingered. Didn't realize your extent. Sorry for the party. Chicago big. His admission, not a good father to you. Tears came. No. He offered lunch before I left. Think about it. Alone, I processed, stood ground, truth spoken. Belle's texts, hate then, don't know how without you. Honest, finally. Painful, but my path cleared. That path cleared before me like a fog lifting after a long storm, but the journey to this point had been paved with moments of betrayal that still stung fresh, none more so than the one unfolding through social media on my very birthday. As I sat in the quiet aftermath of their departure, my apartment feeling both empty and full of echoes from the argument, I couldn't help but replay how it all ignited. The scroll through those party photos that exposed the raw depth of exclusion, the cruel comments that poured in like salt on wounds I'd long ignored. It was more than a forgotten day. It was the culmination of years where my family's favoritism played out in public pixels, forcing me to finally confront the pattern that had defined my life. It started that lunch break at work, my sandwich half-eaten on my desk, the office hum of keyboards and muffled conversations fading as I pulled up Facebook. The notification had popped up earlier, but I'd resisted until then, telling myself it was probably nothing. But there it was, Amber's post at 11:30 p.m. the night before. 27 photos tagged with family names. Surprise party for the one and only Belle. Family is everything. My heart dropped as I swiped through, each image a dagger. Mom carrying in the 3-tier cake with "Belle is our star" scripted in elegant icing, her smile wide and genuine in a way I rarely saw directed at me. Dad, who had sworn work kept him away this month, arm slung around Belle as she opened a jewelry box, her face lit with feigned shock at the diamond earrings sparkling under the lights. Aunt Judith, who claimed travel was impossible for my college graduation, laughing in the background with a glass in hand. Uncle Pete and his wife, absent from my life for 2 years, posing with Belle. Even Grandma, supported by her walker, had made the trek, something she'd skipped for my high school events because the drive is too much. The setting twisted the knife deeper. Our childhood home, Mom's place now, with its familiar wallpaper I'd helped choose as a kid. The backyard where my unheld party should have been. Balloons in Belle's signature lavender, a gift table overflowing with wrapped boxes and shiny paper. The banner, "We're so proud of you," draped where my report cards and trophies once sat before being boxed away to make space. In one photo, barely noticeable but unmistakable to me, a tech store bag with the corner of a laptop box visible. The model I'd mentioned wanting after my old one started glitching. The one I'd saved links for but held off buying to prioritize essentials. They'd gifted it to her. For an interview, not even a job. The champagne flutes, Dad's special occasion brand, clinked in toasts at 11:58 p.m., 2 minutes before midnight marked my birthday. I scrolled slower, the details accumulating like weights on my chest. Cousins I hadn't spoken to in months commented first. Hearts and fire emojis. Belle slaying as always. A family friend from childhood added, "What a night, your girls got it all." Then the responses to my nice cake comment began rolling in, each one peeling back layers of the exclusion I'd normalized. Aunt Judith, it was divine, only the best for our Belle. Uncle Pete with a laughing emoji, wish you could have been there, but Belle needed her moment. No one asked why I wasn't invited, no birthday wishes slipped in. It was as if I didn't exist beyond my utility. Mom's reply hit hardest, "At least someone is worth baking for." I stared at it, the screen blurring slightly, rereading those 6 words that distilled 28 years into a verdict. I wasn't worth the effort, the flour-dusted counters, the love poured into batter. Belle's response came next, casual as a text about weather. "Sorry sis, guess Mom loves me more. Lol, maybe next year you'll have something worth celebrating too." The lol was a slap, minimizing my pain, implying my life, my degree earned through nights of study and side jobs, my career built brick by brick, my quiet self-sufficiency, was nothing compared to her fabricated successes. Other comments piled on, a distant relative tagging Belle, "When do we hear about that dream job? Rooting for you." No mention of the termination I hadn't yet uncovered, but the adoration flowed unchecked. Even Dad liked the post without a word to me. I refreshed obsessively, hoping for a private message and acknowledgement, but nothing came. Instead, more hearts from extended family, one cousin adding, "Family goals. Belle bringing us all together. This wasn't the first social media sting, though it was the sharpest. I remembered smaller ones. Belle's high school graduation album last year, captioned, "Proud of our graduate," with hundreds of likes, while my college ceremony photos got a handful, mom commenting, "Good job," without tagging anyone. Or the time Belle posted about her promotion at Christmas, the family flooding it with praise, while my work award shared to the void. But this time, the public dismissal on the eve of my birthday cracked something irreparable. It revealed not just forgetfulness, but a deliberate hierarchy, where Belle's needs, real or invented, eclipsed mine every time. As I sat there, the office clock ticking toward afternoon meetings, I felt the exclusion's depth. I was the outsider in my own bloodline, valued only for what I could provide, like the $500 I'd sent for this very event. My coworker glanced over, noticing my pale face. "Everything okay?" I nodded, but inside the decision formed like a storm cloud condensing. No more swallowing it, no more pretending the pattern was accidental. This betrayal through likes and comments was the mirror I'd avoided, showing a family that celebrated lies while ignoring truth. I would confront it, not with anger-fueled posts, but with actions that severed the cycle. Wiping my eyes in the bathroom, cold water shocking my skin, I whispered to my reflection, "Enough." That evening, as I ate my solitary Thai food, the resolve hardened. The social media spectacle had uncovered the truth. I deserved better than echoes of approval. It was time to rewrite my role, starting with the evidence I'd buried for too long. But now, in the wake of the confrontation, that memory fueled my strength against the ongoing waves. The family's texts and calls continued, but I held the line, knowing the pattern I'd confronted wouldn't break easily. The waves of family pressure crashed against me in the days that followed, but like a lighthouse standing firm, I refused to dim my light for their storm. After the lobby confrontation with Mom and the tense apartment showdown, I returned to my routine with a newfound steel in my spine, the kind forged from finally voicing truths long buried. But this resolve didn't spring up overnight. It built from that pivotal night on my birthday, when I first gathered the evidence that would arm me against the lifetime of deceptions and imbalances. Sitting cross-legged on my couch, remnants of my uneaten dinner pushed aside, I opened my laptop with purpose, the keyboard clicks echoing my determination to no longer be the silent enabler in this dysfunctional play. The spreadsheet stared back first, a meticulous record I'd maintained almost subconsciously for years, born from my marketing job's habit of tracking data. Rows upon rows detailed every financial lifeline I'd thrown Belle: the initial rent deposit, monthly supplements averaging $800, utility bailouts when notices threatened shut-off, car payments during her temporary setbacks, even miscellaneous emergencies like a vet bill for a pet she impulse adopted and later rehomed. The grand total glowed in red, $17,842 across 3 years, a sum that could have accelerated my student loan payoff or funded a vacation I'd daydreamed about but never taken. New calculations I added that night showed interest I'd lost by dipping into savings. Another $1,200 vanished into the ether. Money wasn't just numbers. It represented hours I'd worked overtime, lunches skipped to save, dreams deferred, while Belle's whims flourished unchecked. Digging deeper into my email archives felt like archaeology, unearthing relics of betrayal. Belle's messages pleaded innocently. "Just need a little this month. Work's slow. I'll pay back soon. Don't tell Mom and Dad, they'll worry." I cross-referenced them with bank statements, timestamps aligning with her splurges posted online, a designer handbag here, concert tickets there. Then, the professional emails I'd accessed when helping set up her account. HR warnings about repeated lateness, customer complaints about her attitude, culminating in the termination notice dated 3 months prior. Inconsistent performance and unreliability, it stated plainly. A corporate echo of the irresponsibility I'd subsidized. No wonder her promotion at Christmas was a facade. She'd been unemployed, fabricating interviews while my transfers kept her afloat. A misplaced utility email sealed the puzzle. A disconnection warning for over $600, forwarded to me by error instead of Belle. I'd sent funds specifically for that bill last month, yet here was proof she'd diverted it elsewhere, perhaps to the Miami getaway with Dylan she'd boasted about on Instagram. The clarity was sickening. Belle hadn't been scraping by. She'd been gaming the system, relying on my reliability to cover her tracks, all while our parents pedestalized her lies. This wasn't mere sibling rivalry, it was a systemic drain, enabled by family blindness that left me depleted. With evidence compiled, a folder now bulging with screenshots, statements, and emails, I made my moves methodically, like checking off a long overdue to-do list. First, logging into my bank app under the soft lamplight, I navigated to recurring transfers and canceled the automatic rent payment to Belle's landlord. The next one, due in 5 days, vanished with a confirmatory email chime. Relief washed over me, mingled with a twinge of anxiety. What if she really ended up on the street? But I pushed it down. At 25, consequences were her teacher now, not me. Next, I drafted an email to Mr. Patterson, the landlord whose number I'd saved after our initial eviction-averting talks. "Dear Mr. Patterson," I typed, fingers steady despite the weight, "I am writing to inform you that I will no longer be making payments toward Belle Turner's rent, beginning immediately. For the past 2 years, I have provided financial assistance without her taking steps toward self-sufficiency. This arrangement is now terminated. Please direct all future communications regarding payment to Belle directly. I understand this may cause inconvenience, but I believe it is necessary for all parties to move forward appropriately. Sincerely, Allison Turner." Hitting send felt like shedding a heavy coat, the whoosh of the outbox liberating. The hardest step was the family email, a digital bombshell addressed to Mom, Dad, and Belle. I attached the compiled document, irrefutable proof in PDFs and images. Bank transfers, Belle's termination, utility arrears, even screenshots of the party photos and comments for context. "Mom, Dad, and Belle," I wrote, pouring out the pent-up truth. "For years, I have supported this family emotionally and financially without recognition or appreciation. I have remained silent as you celebrated Belle while ignoring my achievements and my birthday. I have transferred thousands to keep Belle housed and comfortable while she lied about her employment and financial situation. This ends now. I have canceled all financial support to Belle effective immediately. I have informed her landlord of this change. The attached documents provide evidence of both my contributions and Belle's misrepresentations. I am stepping back from this dynamic to focus on my own well-being. Please respect this decision, Allison." My cursor hovered over send, heart pounding with visions of fallout, anger, denials, guilt trips painting me as the jealous villain. But for once, their opinions didn't dictate my worth. Click. Sent. I closed the laptop, turned off my phone, and prepared for bed, the city's distant sirens a lullaby to my exhaustion. Sleep came deep and dreamless, knowing I'd finally claimed my resolve. Tomorrow's chaos couldn't touch this inner peace, not yet. But as days unfolded, that peace was tested. The backlash intensified, but my gathered evidence became my shield, reminding me why I'd acted. The family's texts and calls might continue their barrage, but in that moment, after closing Facebook, the decision to act crystallized like ice forming on a window pane overnight. No more waiting for apologies that never came. It was time to arm myself with facts, to compile the proof that would make denial impossible and give me the resolve to break free. That birthday evening, as the city lights twinkled outside my apartment, casting long shadows across my living room floor, I pushed aside the cold remnants of my Thai takeout and pulled my laptop closer, fingers hovering over the keys with a mix of trepidation and empowerment. This wasn't revenge, it was reclamation, a methodical unraveling of the web I'd been tangled in for far too long. I started with the financials, opening the spreadsheet I'd quietly maintained for years, a habit from my marketing role where data tracking kept campaigns on course. It was simple at first, columns for dates, amounts, purposes. But as I scrolled, the scope hit me anew, row after row chronicling my invisible generosity. The initial transfer for Belle's apartment deposit, $1,200 labeled one-time help. Then the monthly rent supplements, $800 each, stretching back 24 months after the landlord's urgent call. Utility payments sprinkled in, like the $450 for electricity when she claimed a roommate flaked, or $300 for water during a rough patch. Car repairs, $750 twice over for breakdowns that coincided suspiciously with her social media posts of road trips. Even smaller sums, $200 for a medical copay that turned out to be a spa visit, pieced together from her tagged photos. I added a new column that night, calculating totals with a formula that summed it all. $17,842 gone, not including the opportunity cost of interest I could have earned in savings. That figure alone made my stomach churn, enough for a down payment on something of my own, or to finally replace my glitchy laptop without waiting for a sale. But numbers told only half the story. I needed the deceptions laid bare. Diving into my email inbox, I searched for Belle's name, pulling up threads I'd archived but never deleted, perhaps subconsciously, knowing this day might come. Her pleas were there in black and white. Sis, work cut hours. Need $500 for rent or I'm out. Promise it's the last time. Followed by my confirmations, bank alerts attached. I cross-checked dates with her online presence, Instagram stories of brunches and shopping hauls, timestamped the same weeks she cried poverty. Then, the workplace emails I'd glimpsed when setting up her professional account years ago, at her request for tech help. Warnings from HR, repeated tardiness noted, please address. Customer feedback, unprofessional demeanor. The clincher, the termination letter 3 months old. Due to ongoing issues with reliability and performance, your employment is ended, effective immediately. She'd been fired, not promoted, yet paraded the lie at family events while I wired funds for her commute costs. A stray email from the utility company, misdirected to me instead of her, added fuel. A disconnection notice for $620 overdue, despite my $500 send the prior month earmarked for bills. The math didn't lie. She'd pocket it, perhaps for the earrings from the party photos, or the Miami weekend with Dylan she'd captioned, much-needed escape. Screenshots followed. The Facebook album, Mom's cutting comment, Belle's mocking reply, all captured in high resolution. I organized it into a single PDF, pages flowing logically. Finances first, emails second, social proof last, like a report I'd prepare for a client presentation, irrefutable and clean. With the dossier complete, resolve surged through me like adrenaline after a run. First action, my banking app, where I navigated to scheduled payments under the fluorescent kitchen light, coffee brewing for the long night ahead. The recurring transfer to Mr. Patterson's property management blinked at me. $800 set for 5 days out. Cancel. Confirm. A pop-up warned of permanence. I clicked through without hesitation, the relief immediate, like loosening a too tight belt. No more automatic safety net. Belle would feel the ground shift. Next, the email to the landlord, composed with professional courtesy honed from work emails. Dear Mr. Patterson, effective immediately, I will cease all financial contributions to Belle Turner's rent account. Over the past 2 years, I've assisted to prevent eviction, but this support has not fostered independence. Please contact Belle directly for future payments. Thank you for your understanding. Best, Allison Turner. Send. His reply came quicker than expected, a brief acknowledgement. Noted. Will proceed accordingly. Polite, but the subtext clear. Trouble brewing for her. The final, weightiest step. The family missive. Addressed to Mom, Dad, Belle, with the PDF attached like a digital anchor. For too long I've carried this family silently, funding Belle's life while my own efforts went unseen. The party, the comments, the forgotten birthday, they're symptoms of a deeper imbalance. I've paid thousands to cover her deceptions, like her unreported firing and misused funds. Attached is the proof. I'm ending all support now, including notifying her landlord. I need space to heal. Respect that. Allison. Hesitation flickered, fallout visions of screams, disownment, but I hit send, the whoosh a declaration of independence. Phone powered off, I stepped into the shower, hot water washing away the day's grime, emerging renewed. That night, sleep came peacefully. Dreams untroubled for the first time in months. The evidence wasn't just ammunition, it was my foundation, building the resolve to withstand what came next. And it would come, relentless as tides, but I was ready. The backlash didn't wait for dawn. It crashed in like a wave I'd seen building on the horizon. But now it was upon me, testing the boundaries I'd just drawn in the sand. After sending those emails and powering down my phone, I slept soundly that night. The weight of unspoken truths finally lifted from my chest. But come morning, as sunlight filtered through my blinds and I brewed my usual coffee, the aroma grounding me in routine, I knew turning it back on would unleash the storm. And it did. 12 missed calls from Mom, 8 from Belle, 3 from Dad, 37 texts, 15 emails. Notifications buzzed like angry bees as the device vibrated in my hand. I set it on the counter, sipping slowly, reminding myself this was the price of freedom, not a sign to retreat. Day 1 blurred into work focus, my presentation delivered with a sharpness that drew compliments from colleagues. "Allison, you're on fire today." They didn't know the fire was fueled by liberation, my mind unclouded by family pulls for the first time. Evening came with more attempts. I ignored them, opting for a quiet dinner and a movie, the plot's twists paling against my life's drama. Sleep was restorative, dreams of open roads ahead. Day 2 escalated, urgent voicemails pleading, then accusing. I created an email filter, shunting family messages to a later folder, buying mental space. Blocked their numbers temporarily, not out of spite, but self-preservation, like closing windows before a gale. By day 3, a delivery interrupted the pattern. Vibrant flowers at my door, the card from Amber reading, "Happy belated birthday. You deserve to be celebrated too." Her thoughtfulness pierced the isolation, a reminder that not every relative was entrenched in the favoritism. I texted her thanks, and she called immediately, her voice a balm. "I saw your email with all the attachments," she said, concern lacing her words. "I had no idea about the money you've been sending, Belle. That's insane. No one knew?" "That was the point," I replied, sinking into my couch. "Kept it quiet to avoid drama." Amber sighed. "Well, it's drama now, but I think you're doing the right thing. The Belle worship in this family has gone on too long, and I'm sorry about the party. I should have questioned why you weren't there when Mom said you were too busy." Her support felt like sunlight breaking clouds, validating my stand without judgment. Day 4 marked Belle's dawning reality, my canceled transfer looming. A text slipped through via a mutual friend's phone. "What the hell, Allison? Landlord called about rent. You know I can't cover full, whatever issue you're having, don't take it out on me, fix this now." The entitlement stung, but I didn't respond, deleting it instead. By day 6, Mom bypassed blocks with a voicemail through my building's main line. "Allison Marie Turner, this childish behavior stops now. Your sister's in tears. You've risked her home over birthday jealousy. I raised you better. Call immediately." Her tone, sharp as ever, echoed childhood scoldings, but now it bounced off my resolve. I saved the message as evidence, not ammunition, but a record of the manipulation I'd endured. Day 8 brought Dad's measured approach, an email titled, "Let's discuss rationally." "Allison, I get you're upset about the party. We should have considered the timing, but cutting Belle off without warning is extreme. She's always been more fragile. She needs support while finding her footing. Mom's worried sick. Call so we can compromise." His words carried the old refrain, minimizing my pain to prioritize Belle's. I replied briefly, "Dad, this isn't just the party, it's years of imbalance and lies. Belle's been unemployed 3 months pretending otherwise, misusing my money. At 25, she faces consequences. No compromise that enables her." Sending it felt firm, not cruel. Day 10 turned the tide to full assault. Family enlisted like reinforcements. Aunt Judith called my office, reception buzzing me awkwardly. "Personal call, your aunt?" I declined, later explaining to avoid future intrusions. Uncle Pete's email rambled on family loyalty. "Blood thicker than water, Allison. Your grandfather would be ashamed." Grandma's voicemail trembled. "Disappointed in you, dear. Family helps family." Belle's messages veered desperate. "Landlord says 5 days before eviction. Seriously letting your sister homeless? What monster." An hour later, "Sorry about Facebook jokes. You take things seriously. Send money this last time. We can reduce gradually." When pleas failed, tones shifted venomous. "Belle, Mom and Dad know you spied on my emails, set me up to fail. Everyone sees your jealousy. Good luck being welcome again." Mom's day 11 threat. 24 hours to resume support and apologize, or consequences. Don't test me. Vague but once terrifying, now it confirmed my path. Dylan, Belle's boyfriend I'd met twice, texted accusations, destroying Belle's mental health, always sabotaging because everyone loves her more. Blocked, along with others, carving peace. Amid chaos I thrived, work dinners accepted, therapy consulted. Amber checked in. Evidence opened my eyes. "You funded her secretly? Time someone stopped the worship. Sorry for your birthday, should have seen Mom's excuse was off." Her alliance strengthened me. Day 12's calls during my meeting, Belle's fifth forcing me out. "Eviction proceedings," she shrieked. "Fix it. calmly. Your choices, lied about job, misused funds. So what? You have money, no life. Goodbye. Group chat erupted, mom demanding, dad pleading, aunts condemning, muted. The backlash peaked, but my boundaries held, Amber's support a quiet anchor in the roar. The roar of backlash might have peaked, but the direct confrontations that followed turned abstract anger into face-to-face reckonings, forcing me to defend my boundaries in real time, under the scrutiny of eyes I'd known all my life. After muting the group chat and finishing my workday with a sense of accomplishment, my presentation earning nods from the team, I headed home, the evening air crisp with the promise of change. But at 4:30, the receptionist's call shattered the calm. "Allison, your mother is in the lobby. She seems upset. Security is asking if they should escort her out." My pulse quickened, but I took a steadying breath, the office fluorescents buzzing overhead as I replied, "Tell them, I'll be right down." This intrusion into my professional space was a new low, a violation that underscored how little they respected my life outside their needs. Descending in the elevator, I steeled myself, smoothing my blouse and reminding myself of the evidence I'd compiled, the spreadsheets, emails, the undeniable proof of imbalance. In the lobby, Mom paced like a caged animal, her face flushed, hair slightly disheveled from what I imagined was a frantic drive. When she spotted me, she pointed a trembling finger, voice echoing off the marble floors, "You? How dare you humiliate our family like this?" Frank, the security guard, hovered nearby, his hand on his radio, glancing at me for direction. I offered him a reassuring smile. "It's okay, Frank. This is my mother. We'll step outside for a moment." Leading her out to the sidewalk, the bustle of commuters around us, I turned to face her. "Mom, I'm at work. This is inappropriate." "Inappropriate?" She spat, her eyes wild. "You know what's inappropriate? Sending private financial information to the entire family, making your sister look bad just to feel important. She could lose her apartment because of you." The accusation hung in the air, pedestrians glancing curiously as they passed. I kept my voice even, professional demeanor intact. "Mom, Belle lost her job 3 months ago and didn't tell anyone. She's been lying to all of us, misusing the money I sent for essentials." She waved it off. "She was trying to find the right time. She didn't want to worry us." "She had no problem worrying me when she needed more cash," I countered. "No problem accepting help while mocking me online." "That was just teasing. You've always been too sensitive." A colleague walked by then, eyeing the scene with raised eyebrows. I nodded politely, maintaining composure. "I can't do this here. If you want a civil conversation, we can schedule a time." Her face hardened. "Oh, now you want to talk after dropping this bomb? Your sister's having a panic attack. Your father had to leave work early, all because you couldn't handle not being the center of attention for once." The irony nearly made me laugh, bitter and sharp. "Mom, when have I ever been the center of attention in this family?" She dismissed it with a hand wave. "You're coming with me right now to apologize to Belle and reinstate those payments." "No, I'm not." The refusal stunned her into silence for a beat, her world where I always capitulated crumbling. "Excuse me," she finally said, voice rising. I stood firm. "No, I'm going back to work now. I suggest you leave before security gets concerned again." As I turned, she grabbed my arm, gripped tight. "If you walk away from this family now, don't expect to be welcomed back." I looked at her hand, then met her eyes. "That sounds like a threat, Mom." "It's reality. Family stands by family." Gently prying her fingers free, I replied, "Funny, I've stood by this family for years, financially and emotionally. Where was that motto on my birthday?" She had no retort, just a glare as I walked back inside, nodding to Frank. My hands shook in the elevator, but my resolve held. A quiet victory in refusing to be pulled back into the chaos. That evening, the real explosion arrived with a persistent doorbell ring. Peering through the peephole, I saw Belle, Mom, and Dad clustered in the hallway, faces a mix of fury and desperation. I considered ignoring it, letting the silence speak, but facing them head-on felt necessary to close this chapter. Opening the door, I blocked the threshold. "Yes?" Belle pushed forward dramatically. "You need to fix this now. The landlord says 3 days to pay or get out." "Then I suggest you start packing," I said evenly. Dad interjected, ever the peacemaker. "Allison, please let us in so we can discuss this rationally." After a pause, I stepped aside. They filed in, Belle flopping onto the couch in tears, their mom perching rigidly on an armchair, Dad standing awkwardly by the window, glancing around. "Nice place," he commented. "I don't think I've been here since you moved in." 2 years ago, I confirmed, no warmth in my tone. An uncomfortable silence stretched, broken by Mom. "Allison, this vendetta against your sister has gone too far. You've made your point. Now be the bigger person and help your family." "This isn't a vendetta," I replied, standing with arms crossed. "It's me stopping an unhealthy dynamic that's lasted too long." Belle sobbed. "By making me homeless? You wouldn't be facing eviction if you'd been honest about your job loss and made arrangements," I pointed out. "Or used the money I sent for its purpose instead of trips and bags." Dad looked puzzled. "Belle, you said you were still employed. When did you lose the job?" She glared at me. "It's complicated, Dad. Hours reduced, then let go. But I've been interviewing." "With no results," I added. "The job market's tough," she snapped. "Especially when fired for tardiness and attitude," I said, pulling up the email on my phone. "Want me to read it aloud?" Mom jumped in. "Stop attacking her. This is your jealousy, always trying to make her look bad." "Mom," I said quietly, "I've paid 40% of her rent for 2 years, covered utilities, car payments, emergencies. Thousands while you celebrated her and ignored me, including that party with my money." Dad shifted uncomfortably. "We didn't know it was your birthday." "You forgot your daughter's birthday?" I asked, locking eyes. He looked ashamed. "Things have been hectic. Always for me, never for Belle." Mom exclaimed. "Because she needs us more. You've always been independent." "Because I had to be," I shot back. "No one handled things for me." Belle interjected. "So this is punishment? Because Mom and Dad love me more?" The room fell silent, her words laying bare the core truth. "This isn't punishment," I said after a moment. "It's prioritizing myself, refusing to support someone who takes without thanks, lies, mocks me." "What do you want? An apology?" Mom demanded. "Fine, sorry we forgot your birthday, sorry about the party timing, but this is disproportionate." "I don't want apologies," I replied. "I want change, recognition of the pattern, Belle taking responsibility, me focusing on my life." Dad asked, "By leaving her homeless?" "She has options. Get a job, roommate, move home with you, downsize." "Those sound horrible," Belle wailed. "Welcome to adulthood," I said. "The one I've lived while funding your delays." Mom stood abruptly. "This is nowhere. Here's what's happening. Reinstate payments until Belle's stable. We'll acknowledge your contributions more." The condescension snapped my last thread. "No, that's not happening. What's happening is I continue without obligation to Belle, and my life might change significantly soon." Eyes fixed on me. "What?" Dad asked. "I've been offered a promotion in our Chicago office, relocation included." I accepted. "Chicago?" Mom repeated aghast. "You can't move. Who handles family matters?" "Exactly," I said. "I've been a resource, not a daughter. The safety net's folding up." Belle cried. "You'd abandon us after everything we've done?" I laughed incredulously. "What have you done for me? Name one." Silence. Dad cleared his throat. "We overlook things, but cutting off and moving is extreme. It's healthy, necessary." Mom's voice tightened. "Do this, no support from us." "I've never had it, that's the point." Mom gathered her purse. "Come on, Belle, we'll figure it out ourselves." Belle trailed, pausing to plead. "Ally, I can't lose my place. I'll do better, get a job tomorrow, pay you back." "Heard those before," I said gently. "Prove it with actions." Dad lingered. "Didn't realize your support's extent. Sorry for the party. Chicago, huh?" "Big move," he admitted quietly. "Haven't been a good father to you." Tears pricked my eyes. "No, I'm sorry. Truly." He suggested lunch. "Before you go, just us." "I'll think about it." As they left, the door clicking shut, I exhaled, the confrontation's intensity leaving me drained but unbroken. My assertions, the promotion reveal, the refusals, marked the end of yielding, the start of a life on my terms. The confrontations might have marked the end of my old life, but the true transformation unfolded in the months that followed, like a flower blooming after a harsh winter, petals unfurling under Chicago's vast sky. 6 months later, I stood at the window of my new apartment, watching snowflakes dance lazily over the city skyline, their silent descent mirroring the quiet peace I'd found far from the family storms. The view still caught my breath sometimes. A glittering expanse of lights and architecture that symbolized how far I'd come since packing my life into boxes and driving away from everything familiar. The relocation assistance from my promotion had made it seamless. A spacious one-bedroom with high ceilings and a balcony, furnished with pieces I'd chosen myself. No hand-me-downs or compromises. Mornings here started with coffee from a local roastery, the rich aroma filling the air as I prepared for work. My steps lighter without the constant tug of obligations. The first weeks after leaving had been a whirlwind of adjustment and lingering echoes. My phone had buzzed relentlessly with messages veering from desperate pleas to outright threats. Mom rallying extended family to her narrative of me as the heartless abandoner. Some bought it, sending judgmental emails or unfriending me online. Others reached out privately, confessing they'd seen the favoritism but stayed silent. "Proud of you for breaking the cycle," one uncle wrote unexpectedly. Belle faced eviction but landed on her feet, or close enough, finding a roommate through a coworker. Another retail associate splitting costs in a cramped walk-up on the city's outskirts. Amber, my steadfast link to home, updated me sparingly. Belle had taken a fast food job, flipping burgers and actually showing up on time, a small miracle amid her complaints. Mom's communication dwindled to curt holiday texts, her Thanksgiving invite rebuffed with "too busy with family who care." It stung less each time, the distance a buffer I'd needed. Dad surprised me most, following through on that pre-move lunch, an awkward cafe meet where he admitted over sandwiches. "Belle's needs were louder. We took your strength for granted." Not a full apology, but seeds of one. He'd visited Chicago twice since, the first time bearing a housewarming plant that now thrived on my windowsill. Our talks deepened, him asking about my projects rather than steering to Belle. "You're building something real here," he said during his last trip, walking along the lakefront, wind whipping our coats. Tentative healing, like mending a frayed thread. Therapy with Dr. Winters became my anchor, her office a cozy nook overlooking the river where I unpacked decades of being the overlooked one. "What you did wasn't just for you," she noted in one session, her voice gentle amid the hum of the heater. "It disrupted a harmful pattern for everyone, including Belle." Sessions helped dissolve residual guilt, especially on quiet nights when doubts crept in. Had I been too harsh? But evidence reminded me. No, necessary. My professional world blossomed too. The promotion brought challenging campaigns, team collaborations that valued my input, late-night brainstorms over pizza that felt like belonging. Colleagues became friends, inviting me to gallery openings or weekend hikes, knowing me as Allison the strategist, not the family fixer. Amber's weekend visit pulled me from reverie, her knock cheerful as she entered, shaking snow from her boots. "This view is insane. Best decision ever." We stood together, her presence a bridge to the past without its weights. "Heard from them?" she asked, curling on the couch with hot cocoa I'd made. "Dad called. Might come for Christmas. Belle emailed last week." Amber's eyebrows rose. "First in months?" I nodded. "Different. No demands. She's worked full-time 4 months, taking online bookkeeping courses." "Actual progress," Amber said, smiling. She mentioned thinking about how she took my help for granted. Not quite sorry, but close. Later, after dinner with my new circle, laughter echoing in a cozy Italian spot, I replied to Belle, "Glad you're steady and learning. Past can't change, but I'm open to healthier ties. Mutual respect, no dependency. Take care, Allison." Boundaries firm, door ajar. My 29th birthday loomed, and for once I planned it myself. A gathering with friends, perhaps a trip to the Art Institute, celebrating not what I'd given, but who I'd become. The snow outside thickened, blanketing the world in hush, much like the calm settling over my heart. Painful as the break had been, it birthed this freedom, growth, self-celebration amid new beginnings. As the snow continued its gentle fall outside my Chicago window, I found myself reflecting more softly on the path that had led me here. The sharp edges of hurt, smoothing like river stones worn by time. The initial fury and isolation had given way to a quieter understanding, where family ties, though strained, weren't severed entirely but reshaped into something sustainable. Belle's tentative steps toward independence, shared through Amber's updates, brought a subtle warmth, not triumph, but hope that my stand had sparked her own awakening. Dad's efforts, imperfect as they were, wove small threads of connection, our conversations lingering on shared memories rather than demands. Even Mom's silence, once a void, now felt like space to breathe. allowing me to nurture my well-being without the constant pull of old roles. In therapy, Dr. Winters often reminded me that healing isn't linear, a gentle ebb and flow like the lake's waves against the shore. I'd learned to honor that, celebrating small victories. A promotion milestone marked with friends, a solo walk through falling leaves where I felt wholly present. The resentment that once weighed heavy had lightened, replaced by gratitude for the strength I'd discovered within. Family love, I realized, thrives best when reciprocal, not one-sided, and sometimes the kindest act is stepping back to let others find their footing. As night deepened, the city's glow softened through the frost-laced glass. I whispered to the quiet room, "You've come so far." It was a promise to myself, fading like a breath on the pane, carrying me into tomorrow with open arms.